So Sonny Kaushal, is that how you say it, Chewie? Chewie's favourite friend from previously to the election. Anytime there was a ram raid, anytime there was a robbery, he was out the front slamming the left and wanting Luxon to be the next Prime Minister. And then it happened, and then Sonny got put on a ministerial role, like a advisory group, and he is on Q&A in the weekend in that capacity. And he is with Guy and Espiner again. Jack's not back yet. He's still on paternity leave. And Sonny gets asked, because they're talking about the citizens' arrests, yeah? And Sonny's position is it's good to give this to dairy owners because, then they don't have to worry about getting charged with assault. Guy and Espiner asks the question, how often does that happen? That's where we pick it up.
Okay, let's look at the problem that you're trying to solve. Have there been many cases where people have been in trouble with the law because they were trying to defend themselves from theft or other criminal behaviour?
There has been cases. There has been lots of retailers or dairy owners. So when they try to protect themselves, they got charged.
Do you know how many?
I remember giving about 5 cases to one of the news talk ZB anchors during that time we were discussing.
About 5 cases over what?
Those were the examples.
Over a few years?
Yeah, no, those were the examples, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
but not a widespread problem.
No. But this is not about, what we are trying to do is empowering the retailers to better protect their properties and themselves. And also, we are bringing addressing the gaps in the laws. So we are also bringing them in line with the other countries like Australia and Canada.
Okay.
So I haven't got the numbers, right? He said he found 5. But Chewie, I've Googled a few. I'm a pretty good researcher, right? And I've Googled today several different phrases around dairy owner charged with assault, because that would be the charge. If a dairy owner, smashed the crap out of a burglar, they would be charged with assault. I can't find a single incident of a dairy owner being charged with assault. Now, there may be, I'm not saying there's not, because maybe they're not being reported on, but I can't find one. But Sonny is pretty keen to say there's at least 5, even if that was over 20, 30, 40 years. So there's the question for why do we need this law changed? What's the reason for it?
That's for charges. He's not talking about convictions either. It's one thing to be charged with something. It's another thing, entirely different thing to be found guilty of it.
Yeah.
So is this really such a problem that we need to put people in greater risk? I don't see it. Don't see it at all.
Later in the conversation, they do get into a bit of a backwards and forwards on how would this work, and it's a really good way to think through it. Like, what is reasonable force? How would you do it? But before we get there, this part of the conversation. So Guyon wants to talk to him about other people on the Ministerial Advisory Group, because he's only one part of that. So what do the other people on the Ministerial Advisory Group think? How many of them agree with you that this is desperately needed?
You had 4 other members on your Ministerial Advisory Group, didn't you? How many of them supported this idea?
So what happens? It's like, it's a democratic...
By the way, he's somewhat been to the School of Luxon with this. He's now going to explain the system of taking a vote. That's not the question that was asked, but we will get there.
So we have propose the ideas, and a majority of them would come up with their...
Sure, but for this idea, how many supported it?
So a majority have supported that one. So what happens?
So what was it? Was it 3 out of 5, or what was it?
It's not the voting system. So what happens? They represent their areas of sectors, the retail sectors. They come up with the proposal, like the inputs, and then we go to the key stakeholders.
Sure.
And then we discuss. We look into the international practices.
Sure. But I asked because Retail New Zealand Chief Executive Carolyn Young has said that, quote, this is extremely dangerous. People...
She's on the Ministerial group as well.
...get hurt or even killed. Frontline retail workers, often young people on their first job, do not go to work to do law enforcement. I mean, that'd be bad enough if it was just criticism from outside, but that's one of the members of your ministerial advisory group.
Yeah, she is probably responding as from the retail end side. So, every sector has their own different requirements. So
so from the retailer's point of view, in other words, the people who will be able to use this law are saying no from that sector. Maybe not the dairy owners, although the guy that we had last week on the night, Chewie, who had still recovering from being bashed in the head. So someone who basically would be a recipient of this, he said no as well.
And
but this is a group to look at retail crime, though.
Yeah, we encourage the dissenting opinions. I think you need to go to Carolyn and ask what is her dissenting opinion.
Well, she's given it quite clearly, but you've also had the Police Association saying it's not worth getting hurt. You've had the Employers Manufacturers Association saying it could go against the Health and Safety at Work Act, the Motor Trade Association, the unions representing retail workers, the first union in Unite. I mean, Brian Tamaki of Destiny Church, he's excited about it. But who else wants this?
These are the retailers, these small businesses, they would need it. What I'm trying to tell is that these are the tools, So the New Zealanders, they should have the legal tools to protect themselves, their families, their businesses, and their properties.
Now, so that's the thing. But now I'll just say something and be really. But let me just be a bit blunt here. It's when someone has English as their second language, it's sometimes harder to see whether they're reaching for an answer because they're trying to work it out, or whether it's a language thing and you've got to work it out. So it sounds like he's fumbling, but if English is your second language, that might be the reason for it. So we'll just not even worry about that for now. But he's just been told that the retail sector doesn't want this. And then he's saying, well, what we want to do is give the retail sector the tools they need to protect themselves and their property. And the police are saying things, I'm paraphrasing, right? But the police are saying things like that, the retail sector won't be able to protect themselves like this. In fact, what it'll probably end up doing is causing more harm and people will get hurt. So sort of Sonny seems to be going through this conversation where he's being asked a question, he's responding to the question, Guyan's going, hang on, but that's wrong according to these people here. And he's going, no, it's right. And that seems to sort of be the end of the conversation, Chewie.
Yeah, it's a bizarre circular argument about who wants it. And as has been spelled out, nobody wants this. Nobody asked for this.
Well,
this was supposed to be... yeah, he's stoked. Sonny's in this group has been on this for months. And this is the first thing that they have for us.
And it's interesting.
Like, it's an enormous amount of money.
They've been onto it for months. He's getting paid $1,000 a day or something. Where are all the right wingers talking now about just follow the money, people, $1,000 a day? And they've been on this for months, and they still can't put up a united front. I find that to be really interesting. If you're doing something for months and you've got differing opinions from within your advisory group, then what you do is you go, okay, you need to water down yours a little bit, and I'll water down mine a little bit, and we'll actually find something that we can all then be unified on. But they haven't done that. They can't do that. The advisory group themselves are not in lockstep, are in unlock step with this. So that says something of this as well, Chewie. So someone's been pig-headed and someone's going, it has to be this way, and not negotiating. I wonder who that person might be. We don't know.
I mean,
I just wonder.
I have to wonder, like, if you're a dairy owner as part of this group that Sonny has been the spokesperson for, and then he's been banging the drum about dairy raids and ram raids and all of this, that, and the other thing when the previous government was in. New government comes in, Sonny gets appointed to something that could turn things around for you and your dairy and other people in your industry, that sort of thing. So you eagerly await the answer. And this is what comes out, which is essentially, put yourself in harm's way.
Yeah. Get a baseball
bat.
And
then you look at what he's getting paid. He's getting paid more than what some of these dairy owners will make in a year for this part-time advisory role. Yeah.
From poor scientist, he got paid $920 a day to propose an idea that he had years ago, which was rejected by the then Labor government when he proposed it to them. It's not bad, not bad work if you can get it. $1,000 a day to for old rope. Pretty good.
And mark my words here. I don't know what safe national seat they're going to parachute him into in the years to come. But just mark it on a calendar that I said it, that this is Sonny's run at a political career.
All right. Speaking of, let's get back to him. And Guyan does quite a good bit with him about trying to work out how would this work. We did a bit of this last week. Like, what if the police take 45 minutes to get there and you've detained someone? And there's a struggle. They don't want you to detain them. How does this actually work? There's about 2.5 minutes in this conversation.
Let's say a retailer suspects someone of stealing something and makes a citizen's arrest, and then it turns out that they haven't stolen something. I mean, would you be vulnerable to a civil claim under those circumstances?
It's about the judgment. I understand those retailers and the Kiwis, they would have a better judgment. Now, let me tell you, Guy, tomorrow you're walking in a street, right? And somebody tried to...
Do you notice how quickly he just went past that? No answer, no nothing. He just basically said, well, I'm sure people will have the right discernment in that. Now, let me go to an example which you haven't asked me about, and we'll talk about that now.
Rob you, right? Or maybe mug you, right? And you try to yell for help, right? And I'm walking by. Should I not come to support you and help you, or should I look aside, leaving it as a police job? So what we're trying to...
What about option 3? Like, what if someone does have a gun or a knife pulled out and they're mugging someone, jumping into the middle? What about option 3, which is like calling the police immediately, saying code 1, knife being pulled on someone, get here as quickly as you can? What about option 3? He seems to be basically going, do I jump in and help, or do I coldly turn my back and flip the bird as I'm walking away? They're not the only 2 options, Sonny. There are other options as well. There is a third, or maybe a fourth, or maybe a fifth option.
Say is, if there is a situation, call police, right? And if the situation is safe, if you can protect your property, you can, because the law allows. But you don't have to.
No,
right?
okay.
But at the same time...
This is the other point he keeps making when getting challenged. Well, you don't have to use these laws. You don't have to. If you're worried about that, you don't have to use them. But we just want them there in case we want to use them. He said that several times in this conversation.
Call police and follow the instructions.
This allows you to restrain the person, doesn't it? As long as you are within sort of reasonable bounds.
That's correct.
And then you are supposed to call the police. But often, as we know, the police don't have the resources to get there. What say in a dairy, what's someone supposed to do? Restrain someone for... could be an hour before the police get there.
Well, now police is responding very fast. I have been, traveling.
I won't answer the question. I'm just now going to use national talking points about response times. And that's it.
Across the country.
Actually, just remember this. Okay, so let's say, I know Central Auckland quite well, Central Dunedin quite well, Central Wellington quite well. If it's 3 doors down from the police station, yeah. But what if you're in Waihi? What if you're in Timaru? What if you're somewhere else where maybe there's not, a dozen clothed police officers 3 minutes down the road? What if you're living rurally and you do this? So no, this is not quite the same for everyone. This is different in different areas. If you don't have a police officer, and in Kaikoura, if you don't have a police officer to hand, what happens then? This is what never or to date has not been talked about.
And I've been talking to the retailers, and it's a very good news because of the increased patrolling. The police are responding very fast, and that's where you see that the crime is getting under control. Remember,
in the urban areas where the foot patrols are happening. That's not in the suburbs. That's not in rural New Zealand. That's in the urban areas of the major cities. That's where the foot patrols are happening.
Remember in 2022, there were 550% rise in the RAM rates. There was every 10 hours, there was a aggravated robbery. But are you hearing now? Not that much. So the police is doing a great job. What we need to do is get the justice system response equally.
But that's the police performance.
Yeah.
But what this seems to do is encourage people to take the law into their own hands, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. What I'm trying to tell you is...
Hang on. Okay. Take the law into their own hands. No, it doesn't. Isn't a citizen's arrest quite literally the definition of taking the law into your own hands? Because Guyan just said the police are doing well. Fine, let's say that's accurate. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people taking the law into their own hands. Sonny says, no, that's not what we're talking about. I think that's exactly what we're talking about.
To get the justice system response equally.
But that's the police performance.
Yeah.
But what this seems to do is encourage people to take the law into their own hands, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. What I'm trying to tell you is
Yes,
that you don't have to do it. But now the law is on your side. The law is on the side of the victims.
No.
You don't have to use it. But in case if it is required, you have the tool. And the legal system would back you.
Well, again, that's not necessarily true. The legal system would back you, because I guarantee. I used to think that assault was quite often proportional response, meaning if someone tries to hit you, if you hit them back, if someone tries to hit you with a bat, if you would hit them back with a bat, that's sort of what it was. Now, obviously, that was a immature way of thinking about it, but whatever the line is for this, the law will not have your back if you break the law still, like if you use a disproportionate amount of response of force. This is not, because he's selling it like it's a carte blanche. He's selling it like whatever they do, the law will be on their side. That's actually not the case, even under this proposed law, Chewie.
Yeah. There's so much that's wrong with this. Like, I'm not even going to make the argument that the current laws are appropriate when it comes to a citizen's arrest or restraining someone. I personally think it's incredibly dangerous.
Of course.
Stuff can be replaced. People can't.
Yeah.
My mind goes to the stabbing spree and Countdown here in Dunedin years ago. My mind goes to the multiple times that I've had a violent customer or a thieving customer and that sort of thing. The temptation to run after them down the street and get your stuff back is a very, very natural one that could lead to you running down an alleyway and getting shanked with a screwdriver. And no one's going to come and help you. Like, stuff can be replaced. That's it. People can't. And I think Sonny's just hand waving away the complexities of telling people just like, oh yeah, it's much easier to do this now. The law is going to have your back. Well, yeah, maybe if you follow the rules and you do it correctly, maybe you won't get stabbed. Maybe this will be worthwhile. It's all very much, there's only positives here, and we're just going to downplay all the negatives. And this very Auckland-centric view he has of this whole issue. Like, ram raids were very much an Auckland problem. Very much a blip on the radar, post-COVID Auckland problem. And he was on national news talking about it. He's gone away. He's come back with this reheated idea that he's had before that was rightly put back in its box last time round, and he's bringing it out again for an Auckland audience. Like, it's dangerous. It's like, how can the two things exist, that there is a need for this law, but police are doing a really good job? That there's not actually there's really long wait times.
Yeah. That's real.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and what it is, it's obviously a way that this government can not worry so much about their promise to have 500 new police officers, because now we've actually got 10,000 new unsigned up for police officers. All the people who are working in the shops are now our police officers as well.